The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Parental Guidance Neglected. We're late to record because my dad couldn't figure out that his mic was unplugged and just continually was restarting his laptop trying to figure out why he couldn't get audio going.
Wait a minute, do you mean we're late to record, like 5-minute delay, or we're again a week behind an episode because you've got too much stuff in your life going on?
I have to check. I'll have to check the records on that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was. This was not as long a break, and we're going to get this one up immediately. But yeah, it was about a 2-week lag there because of finals. Did you fail out of college?
Yep.
Did you fail out of college?
Yes.
Jack? Everyone wants to know. So that was it? It was a good
Yes,
ride?
without hesitation. It was a good ride. We made it halfway, farther than most people thought I would get. So.
Jackson will be seating people at islands for the next 4 to 5 years. So
good establishment.
If you want a good, do you like the islands? Now I know you
They're
liked
fun.
it. I know you liked it as a kid, but like, when's the last?
I like the drinks a lot. The fun little drinks that they have are good. Like
Right.
little fruity,
Like the liquor drinks, the alcohol drinks.
No, like I can't remember what any of them are called. Like they all have weird names, but
Like
they have good
the
smoothie type things.
The tiki whatever torch or
the tiki torch or the
palm tree supreme. I don't know. That sounds like a Taco Bell thing.
Yeah,
the palm
it
tree
does sound
supreme.
like a Taco Bell thing.
Speaking of alcoholic drinks, you're going to be 21 pretty soon.
Yep.
What do you want?
We're getting there.
What do you want to do? We haven't even talked about this. Will you be 21 over this summer or when you go back to school? No.
Over the summer. It'll be right before I go.
It'll be before you go to school. Wow. 21. What do you want to do? Is there
I don't know. I don't really know.
Is there something special you do besides like just going out to a bar and going, I'll have a drink.
I want to walk into a bar. I want to walk into a bar and have all the music stop and have everyone like turn to look at me. This is like in an old-fashioned saloon.
What if I actually like paid people to do that?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Or we were going somewhere and I went there like 20 minutes beforehand and I had just said to everybody, all strangers, I need you to ask me if I want someone to cut the music off and to all turn and just go, Jackson, when you walk in.
The one thing that I would hate more is like having my first time in a bar just be like the most uncomfortable thing ever, and that's what that would do. So.
Right. Would it be more uncomfortable than if you went into a bar and ordered a Cosmo? Too soon?
Stop.
Too soon? Too soon? Too soon?
I didn't know. Okay, no, because I was in France and
Go ahead.
You're allowed to drink alcohol there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to get, and so I asked the guy next to me. I was like, "What's a good drink that's not going to be super demasculating to get?" And he told me to get a Cosmo, and it comes out in this tiny little skinny thing. And it's got the pink liquid in it, and I feel like a freaking 2-year-old girl.
Did you literally say to him, what is a drink that I could order that would be kind of a masculine drink? And that was his response?
Yeah, but he was doing it because he knew it wasn't a masculine drink, and he knew that I wouldn't know the difference. So it wasn't like he actually thought a Cosmo was masculine. He was just setting me up to fail.
Oh, so he knew. So this was a joke by your
friend.
friend.
It was a joke. He fully knew what he was doing.
Okay, he knew. He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing. So
that besides like a sea breeze or a sex on the beach or what else do women? I mean, that's like the most feminine drink you could get.
I don't know because I don't order drinks like that.
Right? Did you like it? I forget. I think
whatever.
you told
it was
me.
Fine.
It was fine. It's a Cosmo. Is that vodka? I think it's vodka. I don't even know what's in Cosmo.
I don't even know. It's so much sugar in that. It's nothing. It's
yeah,
pink goo.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what's in that because I have a penis.
Right.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Okay.
Welcome welcome to the PGN podcast. Parental Guidance is Neglected. It's Regan Burns here and my soon-to-be 21-year-old son, Jackson Burns, breaking down movies that we've seen, reviewing them, discussing them, every once in a while debating them. Although I don't think we've had a huge... The problem, too, is that we haven't been seeing the same films. I think that's going to be rectified somewhat over the summer.
Even then, the movies that have been coming out have been pretty straight and even. You know, it's not like it's any like surprises. Besides maybe Beau Was Afraid, which you didn't see, which maybe it would be a toss-up. It's been pretty,
That's been a tough one. It's
here.
been, one, I haven't had the time because it's like a 3-hour movie, and two, after your stellar review, it's hard for me to drag myself to see that. And I know I shouldn't let that.
It's probably also going
influence
out
me.
of theaters.
It's gone. I think it's hard to find.
Yeah,
in the theater.
it's gone.
Which means you can probably stream it.
I will say I have one of my friends at Chapman has a lot of friends at NYU that ran into Ari Aster at some kind of screening for a movie, and said that he was just depressed as hell.
Ari Aster was.
Yeah.
Why? Because the movie
He's
tanked?
really, really upset with how this is being received.
Right.
He lost millions of dollars. It was like a $200 million budget. I think it only made like 10.
Did it look like a $200 million film?
Yeah. I mean, it's 3 hours and it has a lot of star power and it's shot incredibly. A lot of big sets, a lot of VFX. It's like...
Right. Huh.
Let me get the exact number for you.
That's, it's kind of... It's kind of
the budget was $35 million. I'm sorry, not $200 million.
Oh, jeez.
That
I was
insane.
like, $200 million? That's like 1.5 Mission Impossible movies. I mean, I was like, what did they do?
It only made $2.5 million though.
Yeah. Well, if it cost 35 and it only made $2 US, you imagine it made a little bit overseas, but probably not a ton more. That's still a tank. Do you? Let me ask you this. It tanked there, and I know you were not a huge fan of it. Do you think it's the kind of movie that's going to show up on 10 worst lists at the end of the year, or do you think it's just going to be a forgotten film? I mean, we're already
for us or in general.
Just in general, when you start seeing people come out and go, what were the worst films of the year? Do you think it's going to have that kind of reaction from critics and fans, or?
No, maybe from more casual viewers.
Right.
You're not gonna like it.
Right.
You're not gonna like it. Yeah.
Right. So listen, if I'm gonna watch it, am I gonna make your mother watch it with me? Or is this one of those things like don't do that?
No. Do not do that to that poor woman. Do not do that to that poor woman.
Okay.
No.
So I have to find 3 hours to watch this on TV by myself. Yeah. I'll do it. I will. I mean, I have other catching up to do, but I will, I still haven't seen, and there you are, God, it's me, Margaret, or whatever that is, but...
it's getting great reviews, but geez, I just could not pull myself. I don't know if I could drag myself to a theater to see that.
I don't know. I don't know if I could drag myself to the living room to see it. But we did see some film. You got the COVID? What do you got going on over there? You coughed a few times.
I don't. It's my allergies. Been draining into my throat all week. Yeah.
I think we both sound pretty nasally today. I was saying that we did drag ourselves to see some movies this week. We got a lot to cover. We have of course trivia coming up at the end of the show. Our next round, we've done like 3 or 4 rounds of this. I mixed it up a little this week. Let's see what happens. And we both did make it out to the theaters to see Evil Dead Rise. So we're going to talk about that one in a bit. But I'm gonna throw us a fastball here, or curveball, I should say, and start out with what most people's favorite segment is, and they often have to wait for it. But I'm going to do it now. It's Jackson's Pretentious Art House Film Corner.
Oh,
Jackson,
I wasn't even ready for this. Wow.
I know. It's a little curveball. We're going to talk about Fast X. We're going to talk about the Ben Affleck movie Hypnotic, Guardians of the Galaxy, Evil Dead. But Jackson, what in your final week of film school did you find time to watch with your friends, or was forced to watch by a professor, or just found yourself curling up on the couch with since your return?
Glad you asked.
Oh, and while you're looking, by the way, if you're watching on the YouTuber, you'll notice Jackson's back in his room. He's home. So Welcome back. I am been
Thank
delegated
you.
back down to the basement, and that will be my home now until he leaves.
Yep.
At the end of summer. So, what did you curl up with?
So, a couple, only a few films. Two, the first two I had to watch in class consecutively. So I went to one class and I watched the first film, and then I went to a different class and watched the second film.
Oh.
The first one I watched was Robert Altman's The Player. Yeah, this was my very first Robert Altman movie. Okay. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's kind of Tim Robbins plays this kind of executive producer who starts getting death threats from a writer whose idea he declined, and then it kind of all spirals from there. It's just so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Jackson called me or texted me after seeing it, and he said, I saw The Player, and he didn't tell me the reaction. But I kind of sensed when he was like, "What else has Robert Altman done? And didn't you used to have a poster of this movie? And if so, can I have it?" So I was kind of like, I don't think he'd be doing that if he hated it.
Yeah.
The Player was one of my favorite films growing up.
Good.
I've seen it countless times. And yeah, I did used to have a poster. We'll have to look in the closet. I don't know if I still have it, but I did. The Player hung in my dorm, I believe, when I was your age.
Yeah, I did my final paper on this movie actually because it left such a mark on me. It was just so good. The acting's so good. The writing is so clever. All the little stupid cameos from different filmmakers and different actors are so funny and well done.
Yeah. The camera work
ending is just so great.
Yeah, the camera work's
crazy.
Really cool. That big pan scene at the beginning through the studio, going from all the different pitch meetings and the
so cool. And it's just so meta, like while it's happening, them being like, "Oh yeah, remember that oneer from whatever, the 6-minute long one." Just super super clever. I feel like it's only gotten more. It's aged really well, I'll say, definitely.
Yeah, that would have been my first question because I haven't seen it now probably since before you were born, so it's probably been over 20 years. It still holds up because I know a lot of some of the jokes were kind of timely, like referencing films and it's out of Africa meets this and this.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean. Maybe it's just because I'm a film student, but I was able to get most of the references, and also just the fact that it's happening in the middle of the writer's strike and kind of during this discussion of how much producers should be creatively influencing films.
Yeah,
just felt really really poignant. And great. So I watched The Player, and then I walked about halfway across campus and went to go watch Harold and Maude, a cult classic movies. Hal Ashby.
Yeah, Hal Ashby.
You guys might remember I saw Being there a while ago and wasn't a fan of it. I don't get it.
Harold and Maude. That's is it Ruth Gordon and I forget who played the young man, but
Bud Cort.
Kind of Bud Cort. Kind of an obscure, absurdist story of an affair between a much older woman and a young boy turning into a man. Not my cup of tea, but Jackson, that movie is loved by film aficionados.
I got absolutely destroyed by people for not liking this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't. Okay, Hal Ashby has the tendency to do this thing where he'll just throw things in at the last minute just for the sake of it. And Being there, it was the whole spoiler alert. It was the whole oh my God, he's walking on water he was Jesus the whole time.
Yeah.
And then of course for Harold and Maude, it's the one shot of her with the the Holocaust marks on her arm, being oh, she was a
survivor.
But I don't care because she's still annoying, and I don't know. I understood why this is very beloved, but to me, I think that her kind of jovial, manic pixie dream girl type aesthetic was just really over the top in a way that I was I couldn't stand being with this person for more than a week.
Right.
Yeah. I wish it. But with that being said, I loved Harold. I could have spent the whole movie watching him do his funny little suicide attempts. I thought that was hilarious.
Right.
I thought that it was really well done. But their relationship didn't work for me.
Right. Did the students in your class have the same reaction to The Player as you? And did they have the same reaction to Harold and Maude as you?
The Player was more mixed. But I kind of knew after watching it who was gonna like it and who wasn't, just from knowing people's tastes. So I was like, okay, you and you and you were gonna like it, and you probably this wasn't your thing.
Yeah.
Harold and Maude was more of a, because we showed it it was for the that post-humanist class I took, the AI one. We watched Harold and Maude, just because the teacher said he wanted us to see a movie that's like just pure humanity. And so it wasn't film students watching it. So it was kind of more of a mixed bag where it was like, oh, like, what did you guys think of this? Because I'm a film student, even I didn't like this.
Right.
And it seemed like actually people liked it more than I did. So, you know, there's definitely still a lot of like, you know, the scene came around where they eventually, you know, have sex, and it was kind of like that's where this is going.
He went there.
Yeah. Oh, he went there.
Grades for the player and Harold and Maude.
The player gets a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
and,
it's a 10. It's a 10.
Yeah,
it's a 10.
It's real close. I think if I watched it again, it might go up. Harold and Maude gets a 3 out of 10. Yeah. But I have two more movies to talk about before we leave.
By the way, I can't disagree with you on either one of those grades. So go on.
Yeah.
Again, no argument here.
Me and my friends, just to relieve some stress during finals week, did a double feature of.
Did you watch Soul Surfer again?
Oh God, I can't believe I had to watch that freaking movie. That was ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Meantime.
Meantime, the Mike Leigh movie, which I've already talked about a million times and won't get back into.
That's Robert Pattinson, right? Isn't it? Is that...
No. You're thinking of Good Time.
Oh, Good
Meantime
Times.
is the older Mike Leigh movie. It's like Tim Roth, Gary Oldman,
yes.
Alfred Molina, a bunch of people. But we did that movie because it has Tim Roth and Gary Oldman, and then we did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which is also Tim Roth and Gary Oldman.
Right.
I love Meantime, so I was super excited to watch it. This was a first watch for me as far as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern go. It's kind of based off a play.
Yep. Tells
a story of two side characters from Hamlet and kind of what happens when the events of Hamlet aren't happening in kind of a weird meta way. Mm-hmm. This movie was really fun. You know, I don't think I left being like, oh my God, I love that part. But I thought that it had some really clever moments. I think that midway through it kind of dragged a little bit, but the beginning and the ending were really, really grabbing. And I thought especially the chemistry between Tim Roth and Gary Oldman was just electric. I love those two together a lot.
Yeah, it's the best thing about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead is that it is kind of a neat vehicle in that let's imagine what's going on while all the important things in Hamlet are going on. Like this, you know, while he's busy screaming at his mother, what are these two sidekicks doing? And how does it influence the story somehow? Or, you know, let's make them bigger. So the concept is really good. I remember seeing the movie ages ago, and I thought the execution was fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. There was also this weird side plot where Gary Oldman's character kept accidentally discovering, like, laws of physics without saying anything.
Right.
Where he would just, like, look at these two objects to fall at the same time. And, I had the little, like, the balls that go back and forth hanging from my... And I was just like, why? Like, this has nothing to do with anything. But I thought it was very clever and well written. In the last movie that I'll touch on real quick, I watched another Mike Leigh movie with Mom last night called Life is Sweet.
Was that a first viewing?
First viewing. Started some heavier hit years. We got Jim Broadbent, Timothy Spall, David Thewlis makes a short appearance, as well as some other British actors that aren't as well known. Kind of a miss, and I hate to say it because you know I love Mike Leigh to death, but this was pretty down the middle for me. It had a really strong ending.
What was it about?
And
Life is Sweet. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It was kind of about a family. It was about a family of four, a mom, a dad, and two twin sisters. And one of them has an eating disorder, but it kind of only comes up a couple of times. It's not like a main plot point. And there's also Timothy Spall plays this really weird friend that like is like starting a restaurant. It was really all over the place. And I read somewhere this is Mike Leigh's least favorite movie of his, and I totally understand. Yeah, I'm going to 5 out of 10 on this one, which really, if you know me, you know that's a hard sentence to get out of my mouth. But yeah.
And what were the grades for Meantime and Rosencrantz?
Meantime is a 9. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is going to get a 7.
So that's pretty good. Oh,
yeah,
right.
I enjoyed it a lot. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Oh, interesting. So let me ask you this. Now that you're home and kind of the assignments that teachers give you to watch these art house films and lesser known movies is not there for a few months, do you feel like I just need to cleanse the palate a little bit and catch up on some really trivial superhero or, popcorn movies? Or are you like, I'm
really.
chomping at the bit. I'm going to get right back into this. And I'm going to find this Kurosawa movie from, his early career or do you...
I watched this really great interview the other day. It was the Safdie brothers who did Uncut Gems and Good Time, and then Ari Aster talking, and they did like this 20-minute long talk about just Martin Scorsese, or like early Martin Scorsese short films.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been meaning to watch those a lot, especially his documentaries, because I've heard a lot of really good things about him.
Speaking of Martin Scorsese, I sent you the trailer for Killer of the... Flower Moon, is that the Killer?
Yeah, Killers of Flower Moon.
Killers of Flower Moon. The trailer that's Martin Scorsese's big movie coming out in October, and then I think it'll be in theaters for a few weeks, and then goes to Apple TV. Here's a shocker: it stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. Yeah, I know Scorsese.
Of course.
What did you think of the? Everyone, go to YouTube right now and check out the trailer. This is kind of the. If there's any momentum for a movie that's going to be the big Oscar darling, this is going to have a huge pitch on it. What did you think of the trailer, Jackson?
I didn't watch it because I wanted to ask you, should I watch it? Because I listen, I'm just going off of what's been said online is that this could be his last movie, and I don't want to.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Not by choice. He's getting old.
Right, but Clint Eastwood's like 107, and he's still got like 15 movies coming out, and he's even in them.
I've just heard talks that he might be slowing down a little bit, and this is a very big film, and I will watch the trailer, but I wanted to ask you first if you feel like, is it giving anything away? Is it better for me to go in with an open mind? I'm sure I'll see it eventually in some theater when I go to watch a different movie.
This is the first trailer. It's officially called the teaser trailer. Which means it's still like 2 minutes long, but I think by teaser trailers they don't really show you scene clips. Sometimes you'll see a trailer and the first one will just be like a lot of fast edits of this, and this, and that's more of what this one is. So I didn't really get a sense of a spoiler feel to it. I can see that there's a romance involved in the story. I can see that there's definitely racial tensions between Native Americans and the white settlers, and it's got I think a pretty interesting voiceover by DiCaprio. I'm not always a big fan of voiceover, but he does like a narration.
He does that. There's the same thing with Wolf of Wall Street, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that was for the trailer or if it's going to be in the movie as well. I don't think you're going to get spoiled from it. I don't know if you're going to get excited about it. There's obviously it's Scorsese, so there are definitely some scenes of violence. But no, I didn't feel like anything was given away. I think I know a little bit more about the mood of the movie, but and it doesn't.
That's fine.
It does not look funny. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I'll give it a watch. I'll give it a watch then later. Yeah.
Okay, so you because sometimes I'm like that. I feel like if I watch too many heavy movies, I'm like, I know this is stupid, but I'm gonna put in Weekend at Bernie's 2 and just watch something mindless or.
Yeah, I think when I need something like that, I usually just go on YouTube and just watch some
clips or.
There's a million. You ever heard of like the term video essays?
No. What is that?
It's what it sounds like. It's a video essay, and there's a lot of like really long ones you can find on YouTube that are just about the weirdest things. Like, oh my god, like did you know that like the Garfield cartoons influenced this random thing? Just like stuff like that, where it's like it's mindless, but it's also really weirdly informative, and it's like, oh, it's a cool little topic to talk about. And
you don't have to, I guess, invest like an hour and a half of your time or 2 hours.
You can turn it on and off if you want. Yeah, exactly. It's a little more relaxing.
Do you like sometimes we have to, but do you like, some people actually like doing this. I remember, I don't know, I think it was hearing Bill Maher or someone talk about it. He hates to watch entire movies. He handles movies like he does books. Like he'll watch 20 minutes of it, go to bed. Next day we'll watch 20, 30 minutes. Like he works his way through them the same way you put a book down. I'm going to read a chapter or two and then come back to it. Do you like that, or have you?
No, I mean, I guess I wouldn't diss anyone for doing that, but I feel like I get too invested, or you kind of forget things.
Yeah.
I feel like you lose some of the nuances if you do that.
I think you lose.
That depends on the movie, though. I'm not missing much if I stop, Ant-Man, whatever, quantum mechanics to, grab a bite to eat.
That's exactly what it was called. It was called Ant-Man Quantum Mechanics. It's all about their auto repair shop. The other thing is, in movie news, I got a big email from AMC. Since we're stub members, whatever. I don't know if you got this, but they wanted a survey, and I was bored because I'm old now.
Yeah.
And I took it, and I can tell that they are strongly considering doing intermissions for longer movies, like films that are 3 hours, where they will actually show an hour and a half of it, and they'll stop the projector for like 10 minutes and let people stretch, go to the restroom, grab it. It's probably a way to get them back to the concession stand to grab some more food.
Absolutely.
But they're considering doing it and wanted to know what my thoughts were. And my first thought was, no, just show the movie. But then I also remembered my prostate is the size of a raisin now. And I'm like, maybe just 10 minutes, 7 minutes halfway through these Avatar films or Scorsese's epic biopic or whatever, maybe that would be a good idea in theaters. There's also the possibility a lot of people wouldn't come back. They'd be like, I'm out, I'm stretched. I don't know if I care that much to go back. What do you think about intermissions in movie houses?
I've been thinking a lot about people doing that more lately, but I like the idea if it's like built into the movie. I feel like there's a lot of movies that I've seen. I think that Beau is Afraid would have benefited heavily from an intermission. I think that Elvis would have benefited heavily from an intermission. A lot of newer, longer movies, when these people are trying to do these big auteur pieces, where I'm like, wasn't it so great when I was watching Seven Samurai in my dorm and it just stopped? And I was like, oh, great. A natural stopping point where I can go and forget about this for a little bit and come back to it.
Right.
So I'd like to see that a lot more so on the front of the movies. I don't know. I think it'd be weird if the theater wasn't forcing it and it wasn't already part of it.
Back in the day when they were doing huge epic movies like that with Gone with the Wind or The Alamo, they did have intermissions built in. Like it would actually, a scene was meant, like in Gone with the Wind, famously, as she's, walking along and sees all the dead bodies after the battles in the field, and the camera pulls back, and it was meant to fade into intermission. So you're saying you kind of like it if the filmmakers planned it, but if someone just arbitrarily goes, let's just stop right after he walks out the door.
Because then it's like, who's it up to just choose when the movie stops? Is it the projectionist? And I've worked at an AMC before. There is no projectionist. It's just
it's all computerized,
digital. It's all pre-programmed.
All right.
So I'm split on that.
I was split on it as well, but I think my prostate is for it, and my my moody, my snobby movie ego is against it. So let's see what happens with that. PGN podcast, Two Generations Talking Movies. There it is, the pretentious art house corner. He promises us he's going to keep that going in the summer. So since I'm now
don't worry, I'll be back every week.
Yeah, since I'm living with him now, I'm probably going to be forced, and then we can discuss some of the stuff that you
of course,
honor me with watching with you. We both saw the next movie, Evil Dead Rise, at the theaters. It's been out for a couple weeks. It's still up there in the top 5, top 10. But we did see it fairly early on, but we just haven't been able to get to it yet. Dead Rise got good reviews. It did very well at the box office in its first few weeks for as far as a horror movie goes before all the big superhero and car chase movies came out. So it made its money back. It's directed by Irish director Lee Cronin. Bunch of kind of no-names in this. The cast I really didn't recognize from anything. I know the woman.
Yeah, me either.
Alyssa Sutherland, who plays the mother. I guess she's one of the regulars on Vikings. This is a reimagining / sequel to the trilogy that Sam Raimi made famous back in the the 80s and the 90s. It started with Evil Dead 2, and then The Army of Darkness. Those three movies, which I have seen, went from straight-up low-budget horror to eventually Army of Darkness, which was almost a straight-up comedy. And I think this one probably harkens back to the original much more than the campiness. This is a pretty straightforward scare flick, and I think a pretty effective one. Before I get into all my other thoughts, Jackson, what's your preliminary thoughts on Evil Dead Rise? You're not a horror.
So
this is not your genre. So I was very surprised to hear you
not
even
my
went and saw
genre.
it. Right.
So I went to go see this with my buddy Cole, who's also a cinematographer. And first of all, before I get into the actual movie, this thing is shot so well. The cinematography was actually incredible. The lighting was great. They were using a lot of really great tools that helped to push the narrative.
I will interject this, and you probably don't know this, or maybe you were told this. There's a lot of camera shots and movement in this film that are throwbacks to things that Sam Raimi did in the original. A lot of that low camera movement, like a creature almost moving on the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of them was homage to early Sam Raimi. So
continue. I can't remember who DP'd this, but they made a lot of very interesting lens choices that added some distortion, a lot of really cool effects. And another thing is just like when you go to see these kind of like schlocky horror movies nowadays, it's really just like it's the same thing where it's it's the CGI and they're doing The Exorcist or they're doing this, but this was so practical that it just felt so right. Where I was like, oh my god, I'm really believing this is happening right now. Like I really believe that that cheese grater is getting scraped across your leg because it really happened. It was shot practically.
Yeah.
And I think that especially with Evil Dead, that's kind of the only way you can do it, just because of kind of the history that the film carries and the series. I thought the director did a great job of, even as someone who hadn't seen Evil Dead, I feel like this was a great way of continuing the torch. Mm-hmm. It felt funny. It felt gritty and grimy. It was scary at moments. I thought the actress who played the mother was really fun to watch. She did a really great job.
She was fun to watch once she became a zombie. This is one of my...
That's what I mean, yeah.
This is one of my notes of the movie. I was like, I wonder how they cast this, because everyone, and I'm not spoiling anything, almost everyone ends up becoming a zombie. Everyone was really good when they were a zombie. They kind of sucked when
we said the same thing.
They kind of sucked when they weren't. It's like
we said the same thing.
The mom was horrible until she turned, and then she was like, God, she's a great zombie.
Yeah, it felt like they were cast for the second half of the movie.
Yeah,
which definitely did make it a little worse. But I thought there were so many great sequences in this. I loved the whole shot through the eye
hole,
peephole, and watching everyone go back and forth was so great. It just was a lot of fun. Like it was basically just me and Cole and like three other people in the theater, and it was just a good time. We both left super happy. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? No, of course not. But it was a good oh wait, that was a really fun horror movie that exceeded my expectations and was shot really well. Great job.
I liked it too. It was a nice homage, if you have seen the first films, to a lot of the gimmicks that Sam Raimi does. Yeah, is this... Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this. Is it unplausible? Well, yeah, of course it's unplausible. It's the Book of the Dead living in a bank.
Yeah.
I must have 20 times gone, could someone just smash a window and jump out? I mean, you'll break your leg, but you'll be out of the building. Or, I've seen enough movies where you tie the sheets together and you lower someone down. I'm like, there has to be a way out of this. But it's done really well visually. It's a spoiler alert, it's a lot of blood, but that's just what Evil Dead movies are. I mean, you get elevators full of blood and wood chippers and everything. But it's shot really, really well. And once everyone becomes a zombie and have to acting like a real family that has any kind of chemistry, it takes off. Finally, what did you think about the bookends? Interesting choice about kind of showing that whole scene on the lake at the beginning and then tying it to the...
I thought it was really cool, actually.
That was kind of interesting.
I thought that, I thought it was really a cool way of doing that. I loved the way that they revealed the title, with the girl coming out of the water.
That was a great shot.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
By the way, just because I was reading this earlier, this movie uses 1,717 gallons of fake blood. So if that doesn't get you rushing to the theaters, then I don't know what will.
Yeah, if you're squirmish, it's not the film for you. And look, to be honest with you, I'm not a massive horror fan. I probably like them a little better than Jackson, but I do appreciate when I feel like they're getting out of the box and they're not just phoning it in. And I can tell a lot of hard work and thought went into not just the shots, but also the script itself to give it a little bit more originality. I'm giving it a B, Jackson. For me, Evil Dead Rise gets a B.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. So we're right there with you. Yeah. Look at us agreeing. We need some conflict. Something's got to happen here.
Oh, we can't. Jackson, unfortunately, not really unfortunately, we're paying billions and billions of dollars to send him to school, has been busy finals week as any student would. So I picked up the helm and went out.
I also don't know how I would get to this. I don't have
that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that on the podcast when it's all resolved. That'll be that'll be a fun story at the end of summer when we look back and go, remember that.
That's true. Remember when this happened? Anyways, continue.
I went out and saw I'd say 2 of the biggest films so far to launch the summer, and then one that's probably leaving theaters as we speak. I'll start with that one right off the bat. It's called Hypnotic. I didn't even know it was out until I looked at the listings. This is a Robert Rodriguez movie. Of course, the director of Sin City, Machete, From Dusk Till Dawn, and he did all those Spy Kid movies. This is Ben Affleck, and if you're going, why hasn't Ben Affleck been out on the talk show circuit talking about this movie as much as he was Air with Matt Damon a few weeks ago? It's because it's the movie called Hypnotic. This is not good, and it is definitely one of the early contenders for worst film of the year. Ben Affleck. Wow. Ben Affleck is a detective whose daughter has gone missing, and after going through a lot of therapy, suddenly wanders into a world of, get ready, Jackson, underground hypnotics. That's people who can hypnotize you just by looking at you. They can just look at you and suddenly make you jump off a building or shoot yourself in the face or attack your best friend. And then we find out there's different levels of hypnotics. And maybe someone who you didn't think was a hypnotic is a hypnotic. This is twist after twist after ludicrous twist. Luckily, it's brief. It's only about an hour and a half. I think they were stretching just to make the story an hour and a half. Ben Affleck looks like he's sleepwalking through it. William Fichtner is the villain, who's always reliable. I've worked with William. He's fantastic, but he can't save this script. I'm not going to dwell on it. Hypnotic, stay away. Got a D-.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
D-.
Wow.
Again, only not getting an F because the movie was in focus and it was under an hour and a half. So I'm going to go D- for Hypnotic. Leaving the theater near you very, very soon. A couple weeks ago, it is dethroned this week, but it was the number 1 movie for 2 weeks, and I guarantee it'll make $5,000 trillion before all is said and done, is the final chapter of Guardians of the Galaxy. Jackson, you do want to see this. I know you. I think you have some interest in it. You just haven't had the time and means, but James Gunn wraps up his trilogy, I guess, now that he's moving on to become the new voice of DC. And Jackson, listen, he does a fine job. Is this the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie? I gotta be honest with you, I don't know. I don't even remember the first 2, and I saw them. These superhero movies, they're all starting to blend together with me.
People are loving this one though. It's getting great critical reception. It's made it to the top 250 narrative films on the Letterboxd list. I don't know how, and I haven't seen it yet, so I can't comment. But it's like I feel like I've entered a weird, alternate universe where suddenly Marvel's making critically acclaimed films again.
I would not go quite that far. When the movie is about Rocket the raccoon, it's really, really good. When they get away from that storyline, because it's pretty much half the film is his origin of how he got to be this talking raccoon with superhuman strength. When it gets away from that, it really kind of meanders quite a bit. Look, I've never been a huge Guardians fan. I know there's people who treasure these characters. I find Groot to be annoying. I find Chris Pratt kind of doing the same schlock over and over again.
I'm so goddamn sick of Chris Pratt at this point.
He's fine, but I'm not. It's not making me laugh. I will say that I want to pronounce his name right. Chukwudi Iwuji. Man, that might be right. He's the villain in this called the High Evolutionary. He's a regular on Peacemaker, the John Cena superhero show. He's a really good villain in this. But once again, anything not really involving the raccoon for me was a bit of a snore fest. And finally, before I move on, Will Poulter, who was in Midsommar, I don't know what his I don't know what his character's name is. I don't remember enough about. I guess he was in the second one, maybe, but he's some dude painted in gold. He keeps showing up.
I remember him ages ago in some end credit scene. I think.
Yeah, he keeps showing up in this, and I'm like, I don't know who. I wanted to turn to the people in the theater and go, should I? Am I supposed to know why he's here and what he's doing? They do tie it up in a nice little bow at the end. This is most definitely the end of Guardians of the Galaxy in this iteration, so stick around for the...
Of course, God.
Yeah, stick around for the post-credit scene. It may not be completely over, but it's definitely over as far as this group of Galaxy goers goes. It's fine for what it is. I'm not going to lambast the movie, and I do love the raccoon in this. Bradley Cooper is fantastic. This is definitely his movie. I'm going to give Guardians a B-. And you know what? It is what it is.
All right.
I don't know.
I mean, fair enough.
At the end of the day, I don't. I am Groot. Yeah. I am Groot. Okay.
Well, speaking of I am Groot, I mean, you saw one more movie this weekend.
I
with
did.
Vin Diesel,
I did. Jackson, listen to this. Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, Charlize Theron.
Oh, they're back, aren't they?
Jason
they're so back.
Statham, Sung Kang, Helen Mirren's in this, Brie Larson, Rita Moreno. I dare you to find me an actor who's not in this movie. It's Fast X or Fast 10, whatever you're calling it. I'm going to go ahead and do a disclaimer. I have not seen Fast 9, Fast 8, or Fast 7, so I apologize if I didn't know what the hell was going on for the first 20 or 30 minutes. But let me put it this way. I got it eventually. Okay, here's the shocker. Are you ready, Jackson?
Tell me.
I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I thought didn't hate it. No.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I will tell you this. Jason Momoa is a fantastic villain. He was so entertaining in this. Now, with that said, was he completely over the top? Yes, he was. It was almost like he's the only one who knew he was in Fast X. He's in a cartoon world, and everyone else is in this serious melodrama about family and, get away from my son. He plays, I guess what you would only describe as a gender-neutral villain. He's got every stereotypical female quality. He's got every typical testosterone villain quality, and it's this weird amalgam of both where he goes from 1 minute painting his nails and talking about having a fruity drink to, I'm going to rip your heart. Yeah, exactly. Rip your heart out. He plays some guy named Dante, who I guess we have flashbacks to Fast 4 or 5, and it turns out they killed his dad in one of them. And then, of course, since Vin Diesel killed his dad, how is he going to get revenge? He's going to blow up the Vatican. It all makes sense. I don't...
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, I don't...
And I just want to make sure they're a family, right? I just want to make sure that they really hammered home that they're a family.
If the word "fam," I guarantee it was said at least 20 times. Family.
Oh, I know they did.
No one messes with family. Ludacris and Tyrese are so bad in this. They're just. Jason Momoa, however, made this film enjoyable to watch. Did he make it a good movie? No. I'm a little disappointed they didn't go into space again. I missed apparently the one where the car went into space.
Yeah, they did go into space.
Yeah, so I was a little sad when at the end they were only driving down dams and crashing helicopters with cars. But here's a shocker, Jackson. It's all CGI. It's all horrible. But for Momoa, and I'm telling you, he's so stupid and so funny in this, I'm going to give Fast X a C-.
Wow.
C-. Not a stellar
Okay.
review. Not a stellar
No, listen,
review.
it's not a stellar review, but that's higher than I was expecting. I've only seen one Fast and the Furious movie, and it was 7, which is the one with the fake Paul Walker because he died.
Right. Yeah.
So they did that whole like, it's been a long way, and he's driving away. And I remember watching it and being like, this is about drag racing?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
The first one was the first.
Or
one.
not drag. Is it called drag racing, or am I stupid?
No, it's drag. Street racing, maybe drag
Yeah.
racing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
It's
I was like, oh.
number
FBI's involved,
one.
I guess,
Number one movie in the country, and least you be concerned, Jackson. Least you be concerned. There's a cliffhanger, and there is most definitely.
It's in 2 parts, right? This is like the first part of the final one.
This is the first of the 2 final, much the way Mission Impossible is doing this summer, where they're saying this is the first of 2.
Right.
However, Vin Diesel said this week that there is a possibility it could be the first of 3 that ends the story. They've got so much footage. We've got so much movie.
The family is so big.
This family is
can't fit it
so
in
big.
3 movies.
We may not
3 movies.
We got to have a scene for Charlize Theron. We got to, and I will let you know, we have. I won't be a spoiler. I won't do spoilers. There's another huge star introduced in the very last 5 to 6 seconds of the movie, who's been introduced to the family. So the family's getting bigger, Jackson.
I know it is.
The family's getting
The family's
bigger.
just getting bigger.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
stick
Well,
around for those.
Maybe I'll
scenes
see
at
it.
the end.
Probably not, but maybe I will.
You never know.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for Jason Momoa.
Right, yeah.
Check your brain at the door, though. It's absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many car crashes without people getting killed. I'm just like, the civilians would be dead. Apparently, there's nobody on
just
this.
so many.
Every single civilian apparently can jump out of the way of a rolling bomb like
right, just,
that.
whoa,
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
man,
of
was
course.
that close. There is one scene, okay, I just say it. There's one scene where there's this bomb rolling down the street and Vin Diesel's driving, trying to stop it somehow in a car next to it. And Vin Diesel somehow sees that it's going to hit a gas line and explode onto like a Parisian, or not Rome, I should say they're in Italy, like a Rome sidewalk cafe. So he suddenly races by just as the thing is exploding and the flames are shooting towards the cafe, and he hits the part of the overhang, like the tarp that would hang over them.
Yeah,
he hits
yeah.
knocks the poles out so that the tarp falls down and blocks the flames just before all these poor Italians.
Because Rome famously is covered with fireproof awnings. As
so
we know. Yeah.
that saved them from getting exploded into a zillion pieces. It's that kind of movie at the PGN podcast. Yeah.
Fair enough.
There you have it. Every month we make it a habit, and it will be back next week where we will turn to you guys and find. Well, actually, next week will be mine, but later in the month we'll come to you guys for a good movie and a bad movie. However, we started off this last episode by letting you guys know that Jackson had a pick for us this week. Jackson picked a film. Well, I'll let him tell you about it. Jackson, which movie did we watch this week? This is an older cult hit or underground or classic award-winning film that we haven't seen. What did you choose?
This is a movie that I've just kind of seen floating around. You know, I think I think it's more of a culty film. It's directed by Lenny Abramson, who's gotten some more hype over the years with his 2015 Oscar-winning film Room, as well as his miniseries he did with Paul Mescal called Normal People. But this is kind of his first bigger feature, or maybe even his first feature. I'm not too sure. You know, I almost wish that I hadn't told you and I didn't know that Michael Fassbender was in this, because I don't think I would have known if I said otherwise. This movie's called Frank, and it is a film about a normal guy who wants to be a songwriter who gets swept up into this band that is led by a man who refuses to take off this kind of plastic helmet
I think
covers his whole face.
Probably best described as it kind of looks like the thing the Jack in the Box guy has, like a big round.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And the Frank, who's the name of the man wearing the mask, is played by geniusly, may I add, played by Michael Fassbender. You'll also know Donald Gleason as the man stumbling into the project, and Maggie Gyllenhaal, weirdly enough, is in this as well.
I read that Maggie Gyllenhaal turned this movie down originally. She didn't get it.
Really?
And then something drew her to the script, and she reread it, and then she's like, I'm on board. But she initially turned it down. She's like, I didn't get it, and then it wouldn't leave her. The script wouldn't leave her brain.
Yeah. It's one of those movies, to me at least, where I watched it and I was thinking about it for a long time. But I'm more curious to hear what you think about this.
This is it's pretty light fare, I would say, for the first hour and 15 minutes of the film, and it deals a lot with the idiosyncrasies of not only Frank, the lead singer and creative force behind the band, but also the band members. The name of the guy who plays the manager of the band / part-time keyboardist. He was fantastic. Yeah. He is fantastic in this. But the idiosyncrasies of the band and the music they're playing, which is very, very new age, avant-garde music. And so much of the initial comedy, and it's very funny, comes from this young man, Gleason, trying to integrate himself and find a voice within the band. And there's a huge segment of the movie. Most of it takes place on this kind of summer retreat house where they're trying to record their latest album by experimenting with sounds. There's an absolutely hilarious segment when a family shows up who's supposed to be renting the house from them and finds out they're just squatting there. I absolutely loved this movie up until the mask came off.
Wow.
I thought
really?
It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I really thought that the movie it definitely takes a darker turn at the end, which jolted me a little bit. I think I would have loved this movie even more had they kept the mask on Frank. Once I saw it was Michael Fassbender, and I just felt those scenes, and for some reason, the last scene, the reuniting, I will call it, of the band, it just didn't have the emotional punch for me. And I think it's because I don't know if I didn't quite buy, and Michael Fassbender, his vocal work as Frank and physicality
is incredible.
He's so good that once it came off, I was kind of let down. And I almost thought, you know what, if I had shot this movie, and I'm not a filmmaker, but if I had, I would have loved to have seen them do it if they did it all from angles where I never really saw his face. Where I saw the other characters seeing him for the first time and reacting to him, and never having Fassbender on. And maybe it's because when Michael Fassbender made this movie, he was not Michael Fassbender from X-Men and, a huge movie star. But it was a little bit disappointing. And, man, I really wanted that final scene to pack a little more punch than it did. It didn't ruin the movie for me. I still really, really liked Frank. It's just, boy, it had me, and I felt a little let down at the end. Frank, for me, gets a B+. I wanted to go to A. But still, look,
oh, wow.
B+, still good film. But I'd be lying if I said the last 15 minutes I felt creatively did not go the way I wanted it to.
It's interesting you said that because it was almost the opposite for me, where it took me some time to get into it because I feel like it started off with that very like jovial nature, with Donald Gleason, and I felt like I feel like this needs to go deeper in a way. And it definitely did as the movie progressed, but then especially in those last 15 minutes, I felt were necessary. I loved seeing kind of this guy who is kind of projected as this huge icon amongst these band members just kind of get stripped back, and you see like, oh, he's just...
No, see,
Frank,
I think you misunderstand me a little bit. It jolted me, but I don't mind the way the movie ended. I really,
I know
I
that.
really do think seeing Michael Fassbender, and to be honest with you, just kind of seeing him sitting there expressionless, from someone who was so expressive as Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand what you're saying exactly.
Yeah.
I just no, I definitely I don't mean to say that you disagreed with what I'm saying. I'm saying that I like those moments. I think those moments were uplifted by his like simplicity and almost like the way that he kind of reeled himself back in when he didn't have the mask on, as kind of almost like it was a coping mechanism to have it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I think I feel about the same way you did about it, just almost the opposite way,
Right.
where I felt slightly sucked out in the beginning, but it definitely reeled me in, especially during the moments in the summer camp. The part with the family was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought the music was pretty good too. Actually, I was liking the music.
I knew you were going to say that. It annoyed the crap out of me, but it was. I don't think.
I know it
I think
did.
it's supposed to. There must have been two or three times.
yeah.
There must have been 2 or 3 times during the movie where I was like, the music they're making is so horrible. In the back of my head, I went, I bet Jackson might kind of dig some of this though.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And by music, I mean like the whole point is the band will be like, what happens if we take a trash can and smash it against a tree and then record that? That could be part of the song. Like it's very, very, very artsy music.
And then also just before I give my score too, the performance scene at what was it, South by Southwest was a great scene. I love that a lot.
Yes.
That was very powerful and really well done.
And again, Fassbender, fantastic and
so good in this,
bringing us the character, and we never see his. Well, we do eventually, but all the stuff with the helmet is really, really good. The shower scene was hilarious. I mean, walking.
Yeah,
in.
It really was. Yeah,
I really, really laughed very hard at the Ferg. So excellent choice. B+ for me. Just didn't quite stick the landing, but it certainly didn't ruin it, and I highly recommend.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely one I've been thinking about a lot since I saw it.
Oh my God! You know what? We have to disagree on something.
We've lost our charm, man. We've lost the spark.
I almost feel like I'm going to let you go first next time, and even if I agree, I'm going to just counter. I'm just going to be like, "What? You are insane." Were we even watching the same movie? That's Jackson's pick for the month, the little-known movie Frank, which I think is worth watching. It's available.
I am glad you like that. I thought that was going to be a good pick.
Yes, very good. Well done. And I hope you like my pick, because now it's my turn. Martin McDonagh is one of our favorite directors.
Ooh.
The Banshees of Inisherin was obviously one of the darlings this year at the Golden Globes. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Fantastic movie, one of the best of the last 10 years, and I think we've mentioned In Bruges once or twice on the film before. It must be a shock to you that I have never seen his movie 7 Psychopaths.
I haven't either, so I'm glad you said that.
Neither has Jackson. This is a 2012 star-studded movie with Colin Farrell, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell, Chris Walken's in it. It's got a bit of a cult following. It was a box office flop. I mean, this movie barely got released, and when it did, it was in and out of theaters very quickly. Was he ahead of his time? Had he not found his voice yet? Or is this that little golden gem that is worth going back before he hit it big, at the Academy Awards, and now he's the darling? So I think we've mentioned it in passing before, but I want to throw it out there now officially. Jackson and I will be watching 7 Psychopaths, and we can even watch that together and then try to hide our pleasure or displeasure as we're watching, which we often do at the theaters. Although I can sense my son's energy. Like I
almost know immediately when we're watching something. I'm like, oh, he didn't like that.
I usually do it by how many bathroom breaks Jackson takes. If he goes to the bathroom 5 times, I'm like, he is thinking about peeing way more than doing this. 7 Psychopaths. Also, now that he's home, we're going to try to get out to the theater this week. We really have no excuse. The big movie opening next week, Jackson, you know I have to see it, and you know I have to take your mom. Maybe you'll get dragged to it. It's Disney's big entry this year. It's the live-action The Little Mermaid. Jackson's already shaking his head.
You know, it was really unfortunate that the talk about that ended up being some weird Twitter talking point where a bunch of conservatives were like, well, the Little Mermaid would never be black because the sunlight would never reach the thing.
I know.
really the discourse should have been, this looks bad, and why are we remaking a movie like this in live action in the first place?
Oh, because they did it with the Jungle Book, and it was a
I guess you're right.
massive success. So they're going to I think they did with another one too, didn't they? Wasn't there another one that was just huge?
Jungle Book and Lion King.
Yeah, Lion King. That was another huge. So they're going to keep doing it. Also opening next weekend, something called The Wrath of Becky with Luke Wilson and Sean William Scott. I know nothing about that. Julia Louis-Dreyfus has a little art house film called You Hurt My Feelings. I've heard pretty good stuff about that. And then Bert Kreischer, is that his name? The comedian? He's making his movie debut in something called The Machine, which also stars, believe it or not, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill. I know. Huh. I'm going to just take the movies about my father with Sebastian Maniscalco and Robert De Niro off the list because I just can't sit through a Sebastian whatever name movie. And
I don't know what that is even.
And then Gerard Butler's got a movie out next week called Kandahar. Same makers who did Plane and Greenland and every other Gerard Butler action movie that's been out in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of options. We're going to do the best we can to bless you to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever we'll see, and 7 Psychopaths as well. And hopefully, God willing, we will have a new episode up for you every week over the summer. If not, it's because I'm shooting in Scandinavia or Jackson is working 50 hours around the clock and doesn't like movies and he decides he wants to dance.
Nope.
And changes is major. Before we wrap things up here on the PGN podcast, we teased it last week. Jackson's fighting the allergies over there. It's back. It's trivia time. That's the time that my son and I try to find 3 very obscure trivia questions about film. In any genre, any relationship to film, and snub the other, and someone gets bragging rights. Although we should come up with a prize. What is the prize?
Loser buys the winner popcorn at the next screening we go to, whatever it ends up being.
All right. Okay.
Or is that okay? I don't know. You don't seem very excited about that one.
I was gonna be like, maybe the loser has to be forced to watch a movie that the other, like, you have to make me watch Enter the Void again, or I have to.
No, I'd make you watch a way harder way to get through than that. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll think about it for the next trivia. This one's for funsies.
Yeah.
3 questions, Jackson. You want to go back and forth? Who wants to start this one off with?
Who won last time? I don't remember.
That would be you.
All right, so I'll ask my question first then.
All right, you did win last time.
Okay.
I won't lie.
Which of these 3 franchise reboots?
Oh, it's a multiple choice. I like it.
Made the most. I went multiple choice for all these because
so did I.
The theme for mine today is more what other people think.
Oh.
So this is a little more. I thought this might be a little more. Switch it up a little bit instead of just going with the classic trivia. So, which of these 3 franchise reboots made the most of the box office? And this is worldwide.
Worldwide, not domestic.
Everything, not domestic, not abroad. This is everything together.
So I got to think like the Asian audience and the European audience as well. Okay, all right.
So,
which one made more money?
Is it A, Mad Max Fury Road?
Okay. That was a reboot. Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron did very well here. Okay.
Is it B, Batman Begins? Christopher Nolan directed.
Christopher Nolan. Now just the first one or the whole trilogy?
These are just the first reboots.
Okay, so Batman Begins with Liam Neeson and the Scarecrow. All right. Okay, wasn't as big as The Dark Knight, but big. Okay.
Is it C, Star Trek? This is the one with Chris Pine. The
very first one with Chris Pine and Zach and J.J. Abrams directed that. A lot of light flares. Okay.
Or is it D, Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, okay.
The first of the trilogy.
James Franco, excellent reboot. Not as good as the next 2 films though. I thought the first one was the weakest of the 3 in the reboots. Boy. I don't think people were as excited about Planet of the Apes. These were all box office hits. I think people were still a little on the fence with Why am I blanking on who played Batman? Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
And that was just not that great a film. I think The Dark Knight was massively bigger. I think it'd been a long time since we had Star Trek. And although, boy, the sequels to that were horrible, and that went away really fast. And that one was okay. What was my first choice? Mad
Max Fury
You know
Road.
what? That was a behemoth, and everyone is pining why I know why they haven't done another one, because apparently Tom Hardy is incredibly hard to work with.
Really? Oh, that sucks to hear.
Yeah, I think him and George Miller, and I know Charlize Theron and him did not get along well. But you know what? I'm gonna say Mad Max Fury Road. I think internationally, especially Australia, and I'm gonna go Mad Max. Lock it in.
You are incredibly close. Mad Max Fury Road is second with 415 million worldwide. The number one is Rise of the Planet of the Apes with 481 million worldwide. Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
I guess maybe it's got a bit more of an international audience. I was surprised too, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so that beat a superhero, and the Apocalypse, and what was the other one?
Star Trek.
And Star Trek.
Star Trek,
wow.
yeah.
All right.
All
0
right.
for 0. 0 for 0.
Yeah.
My 3 trivia questions this week are centered around Guardians of the Galaxy, since that's been the big movie. And we're looking at stars of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know them pretty well, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to start with Chris Pratt, your favorite.
Right, of course.
Is there another Jurassic movie coming out? I'm ready for
I hope
another.
So. I love those, don't you?
Another dinosaur movie. Hey, Jackson, which of the following is not true about Chris Pratt? 2 of these are true.
Okay. Is not true about Chris
Which
Pratt.
one is not true?
Okay.
He once worked as a stripper.
Okay.
He worked at a Bubba Gump shrimp restaurant.
Okay.
He worked at a churro stand in Disneyland. One of those 3, 2 of them are true.
Okay.
One is not.
Here are some things I know about Chris Pratt.
Okay.
As a guy.
Okay.
I know that he's a farmer now. He owns a farm.
He is. Yes.
I know that he wins. I know that he goes into competitions for something. I think maybe it's like sheep's wool. Mm-hmm. I think it is sheep wool competitions or like pumpkin growing competitions. Something weird, and
he's living off the land
like that.
Yeah.
I know that he's very religious.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he played Mario in the Mario movie.
He is the Italian voice of Mario.
He is the Italian voice of Mario. So yeah. I'm leaning towards stripper just because of his Christian background. I feel like that might clash with some of his but also I feel like maybe you put that one in there to throw me because it's true and it's gonna be something stupid like the churro thing.
I don't know.
Oh, I have to go where my heart, lies, and that's I don't think he was a stripper.
Okay. Final answer?
Final answer.
Chris Pratt did, in fact, work at a Bubba Gump shrimp restaurant.
Okay.
In fact, that's where he began his acting career in Hawaii. I think he was discovered there.
Oh, interesting.
And Chris Pratt also worked as a stripper early in his life. Yeah,
he was a churro worker.
Yeah,
because that was the one I was going to say if it wasn't that one.
I
Darn.
know. Sorry, never the Disneyland. I'm so sorry, Jackson, but thanks for playing. We've got it was
a valiant effort. I'm not mad about it.
We have a toaster for you. Number 2, Mr. Burns. What do you got for me? We're 0-0.
It seems like it feels like we're kind of on the same wavelength because the next question I have is Marvel related.
Oh, okay.
I want to know which of the following Marvel movies has the highest critical score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I'll get
and don't worry.
I'm not going to look.
You've seen all these.
Okay. I'm not looking it up. I don't have my phone with me. I'm not checking.
You have A.
I know this. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to know this. I'm not even going to take 5 seconds. I'm going to lock it in as soon as I know.
I'm going to give you all of your answers, and you're going to tell me.
Okay.
A, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Which volume? I'm sorry, cut out.
Volume 3, the one that just came out, the one that you have just seen.
This is critical score. Highest critical score?
This is just critical score. This is highest critical score. What about the highest critical reception?
The critics. The one the critics liked. Got it?
B, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Best Marvel movie still to date.
C, Thor Ragnarok.
Also, critics love comedy. We could do a comedy.
And 4, Avengers Infinity War. It's the first of the 2 parts.
The first of the 2 parts. I said I was going to lock it in, but damn you, I want to think about it for a second here. Okay. Everyone loved that Thor was suddenly a comedy. Critics loved it. I know that they thought Infinity Wars... I think they really enjoyed that in first Infinity Wars, but I think the second one got even better praise. So I'm going to take that one off. And then Winter Soldier, although it's kind of the darlings, a lot of the fans, I think the critics probably were like, Robert Redford wasn't that strong in it. Blah, blah, blah. It's between Thor and Guardians, the most recent Guardians, and I'm going to go with the most recent Guardians. I want to lock that in, Jackson. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Locked. It's 1-0. I win. So I'm up 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 currently stands at an 82% critical reception.
Oh, no.
Making it the lowest number.
Oh, jeez, I picked. It's got to be Thor. It's got to be Thor. It's got to be Thor.
Thor Ragnarok is number 1 at a 93.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you were so close. So it goes Guardians 3 at 82, Avengers Infinity War at 85, Winter Soldier at 90, and Thor Ragnarok at a 93.
Son of a bitch. I was dancing.
You
just
were
like
right there.
You were dancing with the churro, and I was dancing with Thor Ragnarok.
We just can't lock it down.
All right, Jackson. Dave Bautista, who was very, very good in that M. Night Shyamalan movie that we both hated. What was the name of that one we just saw? The Cabin
yes, yeah. Knock at the cabin, not Cabin at the Woods House. Like it's not that. Yeah.
So it's Dave Bautista. Which of the following, Jackson, is not true about David Bautista?
Getting all personal on me. Okay.
David Bautista collects lunchboxes.
Oh.
David Bautista almost died of pneumonia as a child.
Oh my God.
David Bautista is an accomplished breakdancer.
Okay. I'm almost positive that I've heard the lunchbox thing and that's true. I'm pretty dead set that he collects lunchboxes.
Okay.
I know that I think that Dave Bautista was also a fighter before he became an actor. I want to say that he had an MMA background because I remember hearing him talk about he had a tattoo that involved Manny Pacquiao, but he had to get rid of it because Pacquiao said a bunch of homophobic stuff, and Dave Bautista is raised by, I believe, lesbian mothers, so he got rid of it. My point being that I don't.
Yeah,
think
what
that
does
he
that
was
have
a
to do with?
breakdancer. I think that he was a fight. I think he was a fighter. So I'm leaning towards that. What was the other one? The middle one?
He almost died of pneumonia as a child.
Yeah, because that seems plausible over the breakdancing, and I feel like that someone at this point would have utilized his breakdancing in a comedic way, whether it be like, oh, look at the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy can do breakdance. And maybe they have, because I haven't seen the third one. For all I know, maybe he's breakdancing the whole movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Dave Bautista is not a breakdancer.
Okay. Final answer, locking it in?
Locked. I'm going to feel so stupid if it's the lunchbox one, too.
David Bautista does, in fact, collect lunchboxes.
I knew it.
Dave Bautista is also an accomplished breakdancer. He did not have pneumonia as a child.
I'm always so close. I always know one part of it. Oh, man. Okay.
No. Yep. He's.
I keep thinking I can reasonably deduce it, and I can't.
He was an MMA fighter, though, and wrestler. I think he did wrestling as well. I think he was MMA and wrestling.
So I was right on that front.
Yeah,
he just also had a weird side hustle where
he also has done breakdancing. There you have it.
People can do multiple things. I guess that shows my...
in my research, I don't know why, but I also found that Chris Pratt appeared in some breakdancing instructional video back when he was young too.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
that's
so
super
maybe,
weird.
I wonder if they bonded over that or this set.
But I would have guessed that because they made him breakdance in Guardians 1, and I remember that, so I would have known that.
Yeah, Dave Bautista. What's his character's name again? Big guy who mumbles. I don't remember one.
Drax.
Drax, that's it, yes, yeah. It's 0-0. We each got one more, Jackson. Give it to me. What do you got?
In front of me, I have the results
Uh-huh.
of a critics poll of the best films of all time. It's the Sight and Sound Top 10 for critics.
Never heard of them, but this is critics polls.
Yes.
Of the top 10 films of all time?
The top 10 films of all time. These are the films that made a bunch of critics were polled, and these were in the top 10 of all time. This is it, of all of cinema.
Okay.
Name one.
All I have to do is name one film?
But you only get one guess.
Out of the top 10 films?
Out of the top 10 films, you have to name one, but you only get one guess.
Okay. I'm not guessing yet. I'm talking out loud. My initial thoughts are Singing in the Rain, The Godfather, It's a Wonderful Life, Schindler's List, The Seven Samurai.
There's 10 on there, but you only get one guess.
I am going to say, oh my God. I'm going to say The Godfather. The original.
Of all the films you named, only one appear on the list.
Shut up. And it was The Godfather.
It was Singing in the Rain.
Oh, that was my first thought. That's the first one I said. Damn it. Okay.
Do you want to hear the list?
No, I want to guess one more movie. Since you're telling me,
guess one more movie.
I'm going to say The Godfather Part 2.
No.
Oh my God. Okay, I want one more guess.
Okay.
It's none of the two Godfathers. Not Schindler's List. It's not It's a Wonderful Life.
You were close with. Actually, no. I don't know if you were. I might be lying.
I mean, there's things like Apocalypse Now. The French Connection. I don't think Raiders wouldn't be on there. Close Encounters could be. Jaws could be. There has to be a Spielberg movie on the list. I'm going to say Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Spielberg does not make an appearance on the list.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Who are these critics?
BFI. This is the people, I believe, critics. Let me tell you what the base was.
That is crazy.
The top 100 greatest films of all time is a list published every 10 years by Sight and Sound, according to worldwide opinion polls they conduct. They publish the critics list based on 1,639 participating critics, programmers, curators, archivists, and academics, and they also have a director's list, which is slightly different but very similar. So would you like to hear the list?
Give me the first word of each movie.
You're not going to get all these, but you will get some of them.
Okay.
Number 10 was Singing in the Rain, so you made it in there with Singing in the Rain. Number 8, this is
9?
really, really...
What's 9?
Sorry, number 9, I'm sorry. Number 9 is a really old movie. Starts with the letter M.
No. Mephisto?
Man with a movie camera. It's like a Soviet silent movie.
Horrible.
Okay. Number 8 also starts with an M, but you do know this.
Metropolis. The man who shot Liberty Valance. Man with a golden gun.
Nope.
Meet the Parents.
Nope. Yep, it is Meet the Parents.
The Machine with Bert Kreischer.
No.
I give up.
Mulholland Drive. Number 7, you're not going to get. Number 7, it's a great movie. Number 7, you're not going to get it. It's a movie called Beau Travail by Claire Denis.
No idea.
Number 6 starts with the letter 2.
Russia with Love.
Starts with the number 2. I apologize.
Oh, 2 Days in the Valley. Weekend at Bernie's 2.
A movie. Come on, you can get a movie that starts with the number 2.
Two Hand Luke. Instead of Cool Hand Light. Two Fists of Fury.
It's the 2 is the beginning of the number, but the number is longer than just the 2.
Together.
I cannot believe this.
No, I don't know what
Are you doing a bit? It's 2001.
2001. I was thinking,
It's 2001.
God, what a horrible movie. Oh, God, what a horrible list. Where did you find these people?
Number 5 is In the Mood for Love. Number 4 is Tokyo Story. Number 3, Citizen Kane. Number 2 is Vertigo. And sitting at number 1, Dad, your favorite movie, it's Jean Dielman, 23, Cas de Commerce, 1080 Brussels by Chantal Ackerman.
This is a pretentious art house critic.
It's a real list. It's the Sight and Sound Top 100. I didn't vote on it. It's critics that were polled. I didn't touch this list.
Vertigo's not even Hitchcock's best movie. 2001 is horrible.
Listen, don't bring it up with me. This is the critics. I am merely the middleman, the relayer of information. You should have said Singing in the Rain.
Oh, I was there.
You were there.
Jackson for the win. Which of the following is not true about Vin Diesel?
Oh no.
Which of these is not true? He is an avid. These are tough, I know. He is an avid Dungeons and Dragons player. He once sold light bulbs over the phone.
What? Like, as a job? Like he was a telecaller? Okay.
Yeah, telemarketer. He turned down the role of Batman.
Okay. So this is the hardest one so far because I know a little bit about Chris Pratt. I know a little bit about Dave Bautista. I know nothing about Vin Diesel. I can very much see him in a Batman role, but I don't know if Christopher Nolan would have ever asked him to be Batman, and I don't think he was old enough to be.
I didn't say it was for Christopher Nolan. I said he
but I'm
turned
trying
down
to think
the role of Batman.
Who directed the Batman before Christopher Nolan? Was it the one with shoot. Was it the one with George Clooney? Was that the one before it? I don't remember who directed. Well, he could have been in one of those, but I don't know if he's old enough to have been in one of those. Okay. I'm digging too deep into this. What the other two was
there's also the DC recent world, Ben Affleck.
Oh, that's so true. Okay, so remind me of the other two again.
He is an avid Dungeons and Dragons player. He once sold light bulbs as a telemarketer or over the phone.
Okay. Selling light bulbs as a telemarketer is too niche to not be true. I don't know if you would have come up with that one. I'm wary on that.
I'm not creative enough. Is that what you're saying?
No, you are, but that feels too normal. That feels too average. I think that I'm leaning towards Dungeons and Dragons because I think that when actors are nerdy, people like that a lot, and I hear about it. Like I know that who plays Superman in the newest iteration. It's Henry Cavill. I know Henry Cavill is a super huge nerd who loves video games, and he bonds with people over all the time, and he does like charity stuff. But I hear about those things, and the fact that I haven't heard about the Dungeons and Dragons thing, I don't think he plays Dungeons and Dragons. Final answer, solidifying it in. I don't think he plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Locking it in.
I'm locking it in.
Vin Diesel, in fact, once sold light bulbs as a telemarketer over the phone.
Okay.
That is correct. Vin Diesel also is an avid Dungeons and Dragons player.
Dude, every time I do this to myself, I spend every answer dissecting the one that's right.
Yeah. He was never offered the role of Batman. It's so funny because you're like dancing around. Like the only one he would have been offered is the Ben Affleck. Like he would have been too young back in the day of George Clooney.
I couldn't remember if it was the 90s because that was around Fear. I think first Fast and the Furious was around the 90s. God damn it! Oh.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a 0-0. Nobody wins. It'll have to carry over to
to
next month. 0-0.
Do we do a last minute tiebreaker or do we just say tie?
I think it's tie. I don't have another one. I have to make something up. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I'm unprepared. I should have thought. I didn't think you would be that dumb.
Yeah, I didn't think. Well, listen, I didn't. I thought you would have gotten at least Citizen Kane.
Oh, Citizen Kane, I probably should have. That one I blanked
Yeah.
on. I was dancing around it with like "It's a Wonderful Life" and "Singing in the Rain" that era. Oh, what a
yeah. Do you want to hear the director's poll? Because I mean, that was the critics one. Do you want to hear what the directors said?
Yeah, let me hear it real quick, and then we'll wrap things up here.
There's a lot of similarities, but they're a little different. Number 10, Persona.
No.
Bergman.
No.
Number 9, In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar-wai.
No.
Yeah. Number 8, Close Up. A fantastic film if you ever get a chance.
No.
Number 7 is Mirror. It's Tarkovsky.
No. Nope.
Number 6, 8.5.
No.
It's Fellini.
No.
Number 5, Vertigo, make another appearance on the list.
Again, not the best Hitchcock. Go on.
Number 5, Tokyo Story, Yasuhiro Ozu.
No.
Number 4, once again, making the appearance, Jean Dielman, 23, Quai de Commerce, 1080 Brussels.
No.
Number 3, The Godfather.
Okay.
Number
First
2,
one right.
Citizen Kane.
I'm not a fan, but.
And number 1
is an American film.
It's an American film.
Wow.
You've seen it.
I've
Do you want
seen
to guess it?
2001.
2001: A Space Odyssey. You got it.
Unbelievable. What a snorefest that movie is. What a snorefest.
Hey, I agree.
It is so boring. So boring. Nothing happens. Nothing.
You know that movie that's super long, the Jean Dielman 23, the one that keeps appearing on the list?
Does it need an AMC intermission?
It's 3 hours long, and it's about a housewife cleaning. So
yeah, that's no. Did Howard the Duck make the list? One of them? No, Howard the Duck.
That was number 11 on the
11.
critics list. Number 13 on the directors.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
make sure to tune in every week, please. Where else are you going to get your pretentious art house corner and trivia and movie reviews 15 weeks after?
We give you what you want.
We get the we're hot off the press. Once the movies are pretty much leaving the theater, that's when we get and we break them down for you.
That is when we get to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Please follow my son Jackson Burns on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all those at Jackson N. That's N as in Nancy, extra N. Burns, and you can follow me on Instagram at Regan.Burns. But of course, please follow the PGN podcast on Instagram and to check out all of our latest info as well. I think that's it. That was a marathon.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
There you have it.
We screw ourselves when we're gone that long. We come back with a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back next week with 7 Psychopaths, and then you'll probably have seen.
You got to see something. You got to see something.
I will.
We'll pick one of these. We'll look at the AMC and we'll pick.
I have all the trailers lined up, ready to watch after this to figure out what I'm gonna haul to this week.
There's gotta be something.
Yeah.
I can show you the world.
Not that though. Not that though. No,
yeah,
I don't think so.
I have to.
Well,
yeah.
You have to. I'll be here.
Yeah. All right, brother. Love you. See you then.
Yeah, love you too. Later.